Call of Duty is a game series that is considered to be void of creativity and innovation by many. It has been accused of being the same game, year in, year out. In some ways, Activision needs to either stop yearly releases of Call of Duty, or retire the series altogether. In 2008, a bonus game mode for Call of Duty World at War was released. This game mode felt like the anti-Call of Duty. It was not void of creativity, it was extremely innovative, and quickly became one of the only reasons for some people to still buy the new Call of Duties. Why was this game mode so good, and how did it also eventually become stale like the Call of Duty games it was connected to? The game I'm talking about is Call of Duty Zombies. Although Call of Duty World at War is retrospectively looked back at more fondly, it was criticised for playing it safe on release. The game series was known for releasing games set in World War II. It didn't help that the game before it was the first game set in the modern era. This resulted in people thinking that World at War was a step backwards for the series. But this choice by Treyarch Studios may have made Zombies better. I personally loved the game, and I think it holds up as being one of the best in the series. The campaign was amazing, and even if the multiplayer wasn't as good as Modern Warfare, it was still a lot of fun. The zombies, however, were arguably the best part of the game, and it almost got scrapped before it came out. Mark Lamier was the head of Treyarch Studios during the production of Call of Duty World at War. When World at War was in development, some programmers at Treyarch spent their time working on a zombies prototype. With pressure from Activision, Mark Lamier wanted to tell them to stop wasting their time and focus on the game itself. He calmed down and actually tried playing the game before giving judgment.
It was really easy to get into. It beautifully leveraged the core gameplay and shooter mechanics. And the skill-based design, it begged you to play it again, yet again, because after you were done playing, you were sure if you played it again, you can get to that next level, which of course I was sure I could after playing it.
It turned out to be very fun, and Lamier decided that it should be in the game. The issue was that before this point, there was nothing close to a game mode like this in Call of Duty. The Call of Duty marketing and PR teams thought that it was too confusing and off-brand to fit in with the Call of Duty franchise.
If you can remember back then, and you have to remember back then, there was, any attempt at trying to market a Call of Duty Zombies game would have been nearly impossible. I mean, honestly, it would probably have been the laughing stock. People would have totally thought that we jumped the shark.
When World at War was released on the 11th of November 2008, the Zombies game mode was unlocked by completing the campaign. After completing the final mission and after the credits, the iconic Zombies cutscene would start, and after that, you would be playing the game mode. The first map was called Nacht der Untoten, translated from German into Night of the Living Dead. The map was taken from the campaign level Hard Landing and altered to fit in with the zombies' tone. You are barricaded up in this broken building in the middle of a battlefield at night. Nacht der Untoten has a very eerie, horror-like atmosphere to it, and watching and hearing the zombies slowly creep up to your barricades made it scarier. The game is round-based, starting on round 1 and lasting until you die. You start off with a pistol, which doesn't do very much past the first few rounds. You can earn points by killing zombies and rebuilding barricades, which in turn allows you to buy better weapons and opening up the doors on the map. There are chalk outlines of specific guns on the wall, in which you can buy that said gun and purchase ammo for it. The mystery box was also featured in this map. This costed 950 points and gave you a random weapon. The reason why the mystery box was great was because it was cheap and a complete gamble in what you could get. You could get the worst gun in the game, or you could get the best one for only 950 points. Many of these guns from the mystery box are not purchasable off the wall, and are subsequently more powerful. The ray gun was the first wonder weapon ever, and was obtainable by hitting the box. The only way to get ammo for these is to get a drop by killing a zombie. Zombies will infrequently give you drops when killed, such as a max ammo which reloads your gun to full capacity, as well as your teammates. The other drops were nuke, which killed all the zombies on the map, double points, which doubled your score for 30 seconds, insta-kill, which allowed zombies to be killed instantly with any gun for 30 seconds, and carpenter, which rebuilt all the barricades on the map. The guns in World at War were well balanced, and the mystery box felt like it had the right amount of risk and reward to it. After progressing through your character and the rounds, your sole objective would be to survive until you couldn't anymore. If you were playing with friends, if you went down, your teammates would have a certain amount of time to revive you. If they couldn't and they survived the round, you would come back in with just your pistol. Every round would increase the count and health of the zombies. This, and the map being small, made it difficult to survive. There are many different ways to play this map, such as training and hoarding up the zombies to eventually kill them, or just camping it out in one spot with your teammates. The dynamic gameplay loop made it very addicting, as every match was different and you always felt like you could beat your last high score. The game mode was incredibly well received, and they eventually made the game mode of zombies playable, before even completing the campaign. More maps were eventually released during World at War's game cycle, in the form of downloadable content. The second map, Verrucht, is an insane asylum map released on the 19th of March 2009. The map kept the core game mechanics as before, but also added new ones that didn't bombard the player and make it complicated. The additions felt like a natural progression to the game mode, that made the map feel fresh. The map added things that are now staples in zombies, such as the power, which once turned on allowed you to use new additions to the map. The electric traps that once bought could kill zombies instantly for a limited amount of time. After the trap ended, you would have to wait some time before buying it again, stopping it from being overpowered. Perk machines were also added to the map, which once bought, gave you unique abilities. Quick Revive allowed you to revive teammates quicker. Juggernog made you stronger, allowing you to take more hits from a zombie before you were downed. Double Tap made your guns shoot faster, and Speed Cola made you reload quicker. You would have to re-buy these perks if you went down. Verrucht's enclosed space, horror theme, challenging gameplay, and subtle but needed additional features to the game mode resulted in the map also being very well received. The challenge was definitely there, and that was a good thing, but it may have been a bit too hard. Thanks to the gameplay being the same, the map was still very addictive and worthy of being a classic. Shi no Numa was released on the 11th of June 2009. Shi no Numa is much more open than the previous two maps, making it good for training zombies. The map added a new trap known as the Flogger, and the first transport system known as the Zipline. Perk machines would also randomly spawn on the map, adding a layer of replayability. It also added the second wonder weapon to the game, known as the Wonderwaff. The wonder weapon has infinite damage and can kill up to 10 zombies per shot. This would eventually become a fan favourite and would return to multiple maps. Dog rounds were also added, which gave you a max ammo at the end of them. Shi no Numa would add the 4 main characters in zombies that would be added to many maps to come. The map is very different to the first two, being much more open and therefore easier. This was a good thing, as it made the game even more accessible, and added variety to the map selection. Although it's not one of my favourites, Shi no Numa was indeed a good map, which was overshadowed by demise. Demise was the final zombie map released on World at War on the 6th of August 2009. Demise had all the previous main features of earlier maps, some of which were improved, and also had new additions. The transportation system was much improved in the form of teleporters, which would cost 1,500 points and would take you to the spawn of the map. The main thing the map added was Pack-a-Punch. Once you linked all 3 teleporters to the mainframe in spawn, you would unlock the Pack-a-Punch machine door. For 5,000 points, you could upgrade your gun, giving it more ammo and more damage. This was a very important addition to the game, as it would make your guns last a lot longer, allowing you to get into the higher rounds with more ease. This map is the perfect balance of being difficult and easy. There are a few training spots, but nothing to the size of Shinonuma. The camping spot in this map is probably the most iconic camping location in all of Zombies. It's a long catwalk which is high off the ground, making it a viable spot for a long time, but not forever. Whichever playstyle you choose is certainly not easy, and there are drawbacks for both. Demise was highly praised on release and is still considered by many to be the best Zombies map of all time. It was innovative, had the right level of challenge, and felt like a natural but needed progression to the Zombies game mode. In general, Zombies were becoming increasingly popular with the public, so Call of Duty released Zombies at just the right time to become even more popular. World at War is now considered to be one of the better games in the series, and the choice to stick with World War II as the setting was in hindsight a really good choice. The game is probably the scariest Call of Duty in the series, from its powerful portrayal of the horrors of war, the Call of Duty Zombies game mode, to even the eeriness of the menus themselves. If Treyarch decided to follow Infinity Ward in making a modern Call of Duty, I don't think Zombies would have been as iconic as they were. The maps had a dark, mysterious and scary vibe to them, which probably would have not felt the same in a modern setting. The setting of the horrors of World War II helped make the game mode what it was. Although World at War Zombies hasn't aged the best due to bugs, glitches and some of the map design, the simple yet addicting pick up and play arcade style nature of the game not only made it fit in well with the Call of Duty brand, but also makes the game extremely fun to this day. After World at War, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 was released on the 10th of November 2009. It was made by the other Call of Duty developer Infinity Ward. At the time, this is exactly what the general audience of Call of Duty wanted, as most were tired with the World War II setting. This game was critically acclaimed but didn't have the Zombies game mode. Due to what I said before, I don't think Zombies would have fit in the modern setting. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 had a different third game mode known as Spec Ops, which were short missions that could be completed by yourself or with a friend. This was well received, and gave variety to the games, and didn't make people tired of Zombies. It actually made people want more. Mod tools were added to PC, allowing the community to create custom World at War Zombies maps. This helped keep the game alive as it allowed anyone to create a map and added more content to the community. Although fans wanted the modern setting, Treyarch didn't do that, and decided to make a game set in the Cold War in the 1960s. This was a great move by Treyarch, as it didn't oversaturate the Call of Duty series, and gave fans something completely different. Call of Duty Black Ops was released on the 9th of November 2010. It was originally meant to be a World at War map, but due to time constraints they released it on Black Ops. Kino der Toten translates from German into Theatre of the Dead. The map is based in an abandoned theatre, and was a lot of people's first introduction to zombies. The map didn't add many features itself, but had just the right amount to satisfy fans. The new Black Ops engine was much better than World at War's, as it was less glitchy, and zombies were much easier to train, making it more enjoyable. The guns found on the wall and in the mystery box were now guns from the Cold War. Zombie dogs were still there, and Nova Crawlers were added when you turned on the power, which if killed with a gun, would impair your vision and concuss you for a short time. Pack-a-Punch was there to stay, and added unique abilities to guns that were thought to be terrible. The wonder weapon for this map was the Thunder Gun, which would clear a whole horde of zombies in an instant. The guns in Black Ops 1 are one of the main issues with the game. Apart from a few standouts, most of them in the box are bad or don't have enough ammo. This made spinning the box more of a risk, and lost the balance a bit in my opinion, as most guns weren't even worth keeping to pack a punch. In turn, the game was much more rewarding when you got a great gun out of it. Kino der Toten was incredibly well received, but in hindsight, people have been more critical to it, saying that it is too easy and didn't innovate enough. But you have to consider that this was originally thought to be a World at War map, and was also the starting point for many Zombies fans. If you think about it that way, Kino der Toten was a simple yet necessary addition to the game mode. The other map on release was originally going to be the only map, and if that was the case, people may have not liked the game mode at all. 5 was the other map on release and was a very different experience. 5 was set in the Pentagon, and had 4 significant real-life figures from the Cold War era as playable characters. Seeing one-off characters were great, as it tied into the gameplay and campaign, and made the maps more replayable, and even if you didn't like the characters, you would only see them for one map. The main issue with the map is the fact that it's too hard. Up until this point, zombie players were used to 2 different types of map. They were used to the close quarters maps like Nacht der Untoten and Verrückt, and on the other side were the easier yet still challenging more open maps like Shinonuma and demise. 5 felt like both of the extremes. This experience at launch gave very little value to the player, as the map was trying to lean in both directions. It didn't help that the map had one of the worst wonder weapons in history, the Winter's Howl, which wasn't viable after round 30. The map did have its merits though, having drops such as the Death Machine power-up that would give you the Death Machine for 30 seconds, and the Pentagon Thief rounds instead of dog rounds. During this round, the Pentagon Thief would try and take your gun. 5 has been remembered more fondly in recent years. 5 has been praised for its different yet challenging gameplay that is more replayable than a map like Kino der Toten, that is incredibly easy and has been played to death. 5 wasn't a bad map, far from it. It was just another different experience that Call of Duty Zombies brought to the table. During its life cycle, Call of Duty Black Ops would see DLC maps that would improve on the maps before, add new experiences, but still stay true to the Call of Duty Zombies game mode. The first map, Ascension, would add beloved perks such as PhD Flopper and Stamina Up. Ascension would also add the Easter egg, an optional quest in game for players to get into the storyline of Zombies. This added replay value but didn't affect the casual fan at all. Call of the Dead would introduce a celebrity voice cast, and would have 4 different wonder weapons available on the map. Shangri-La would add interesting transportation systems, and a unique wonder weapon that would shrink zombies. The final map, Moon, would also include the remastered editions of the 4 original maps from World at War. This was in the Black Ops engine that was less glitchy, and had improved graphics. Moon was another great Zombies map, with new mechanics such as no gravity, and a great Easter egg. I could speak about all these maps for ages, but we would be here all day. Every Black Ops map was great, each one had its purpose, and it was obvious that a lot of thought and care was put into each one. This resulted in arguably the best and most consistent Call of Duty Zombies game ever. Not one map on this game was bad. There wasn't a bad map in the whole series. It was expected by Treyarch that they would release classic after classic, and even if some of the maps are better than others, none of them were close to being bad. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 was released after Black Ops 1 the following year. It again didn't have zombies, but this kept the games refreshing. The game itself, however, had a mixed critical reception, due to it being too similar to Modern Warfare 2. To this day, I still can't quite believe how awful zombies started in Black Ops 2, especially compared to the games preceding it. Black Ops 2 was released on the 12th of November 2012. At launch, the game had 1 main map and 3 survival maps. A bonus map was also available if you purchased a more expensive version of the game, which most people didn't, so they were stuck with the other maps. The main map released on launch is known as Transit. It is known as being one of the worst zombies maps ever made. So what exactly is so wrong about it? The first issue is the characters. The 4 characters that players have been with since Shino Numa were and still are beloved, but it was always nice to occasionally have different characters on select maps. The issue with Black Ops 2 was that they decided to release new characters that were supposed to be in for the whole of the game's life cycle, and because of this, they had to be amazing. The characters on Transit are annoying, boring and just forgettable, which is completely different to every set of characters before this. Also, I know I may get some hate for this, but for my eyes the game itself looks worse than Black Ops 1. It's the same effect people get when they prefer the look of Black Ops 3 to Black Ops 4. Transit looks ugly through and through, the colours on the map are dull and muted, and every part of the map looks just as bad as the other parts. This results in the map having no distinct feel to it. Transit was the biggest map to that point. The map was split into several locations, with a transportation system known as the transit bus. When you spawn in, the bus is waiting outside the bus depot for you. The bus is free to use, but is timed and you can't call it to a specific location, meaning if you are busy doing something, you will have to wait until the bus does the whole circuit before getting on again. The second location is the diner, and the mystery box always spawns here first. This causes major issues as the bus will normally leave before you can get a few spins on it. If the guns you get are bad, then tough, you will most likely need to leave at this point. This issue would continue to later parts of the map. Turning on power would probably cost you missing the bus. The alternative for missing the bus is to run to the other areas. This takes way too long, and is full of fog so you can't even see where you're going, and also has one of the worst zombie types in the game. Denizens would only attack you in the fog, and would jump on your head and constantly scratch it, and would also slow down your movement and distort you even more. To kill them, you usually knife them, and the normal knife would take 5 hits to kill one. The denizens constantly attack you for the whole time you are in the fog. The map is also littered with fire, which will kill you if you stay long enough in it. If zombies get in the fire and you kill one, they will explode and damage you when killed if you are close enough. So for a map called Transit, the transportation methods are dreadful. Black Ops 2 was the first game to start having buildable devices, which were available by finding multiple parts and adding them to a workbench located on the map. If you didn't do this, you wouldn't be able to do most things on the map. The turbine was used to open up doors only accessible by using it. The zombie shield added protection to your back, but would break over time. Once you build it, you can run back to the workbench and get one back for free. You can only hold one buildable at a time, and this was a big mistake as most people would skip out on the least effective items completely, and also gave players a dilemma in which buildable to keep on them. This didn't seem like a fair challenge, it felt more like a punishment. Because the map is so massive, it could take ages to get a specific buildable back, even if you just wanted to use it for one thing. This was fixed in later maps. The wonder weapon in this map is called the jet gun, which is one of the worst wonder weapons of all time. You have to run around the whole map to get parts, which is made worse by only being able to hold one part at a time. Once you build it, the damage is decent, but it overheats incredibly quickly. If this happens, you need to pick up all the parts which get dropped off where it broke. This makes the jet gun a horrible gun to use, when it's supposed to be a wonder weapon, which were known to be some of the most powerful and fun guns to use. Truly horrible game design and a terrible wonder weapon. Before this map, getting Pack-a-Punch on a map was very simple, normally requiring a little puzzle to obtain it. This felt fair, as you were getting something in return for a little challenge. Pack-a-punching on Transit is absolutely disgusting. You have to keep the turbine buildable, and place it on a random power door in the power area of the map. You then run all the way into town, and throw a grenade to open the bank vault. This unlocks the Pack-a-Punch room, where you can build the machine and use it. This had one glaring fatal flaw. Zombies could easily break the turbine, and if it did break, the power door would be locked. You would then have to grab another turbine, run to power, and try this method again. This is a nightmare on solo, as it normally comes down to chance if zombies find the turbine, And even if you are lucky enough to unlock the room, every time you go back out, when the turbine eventually breaks, you will have to do this process all over again. This is again horrible game design, which just makes the experience of Transit worse. Double Pack-a-Punch is in this game, which costs 2,000 points, but only changes the scope of certain guns. There is no good camping spot, and places to train are very limited. An area like town that would be great to train is filled with stupid lava that damages you, and there is not a single war weapon in the entire area. Transit introduced the banking system and fridge, allowing you to store money and a gun for another game. This feature was also in Die Rise and Buried. Doing this removed the progression and fun of starting a new zombies game. I can somewhat respect Transit for being so ambitious. This map tried so many new ideas, but was too ahead of its time for its own good. The main consoles running it at the time were the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. They were coming towards the end of their life cycles, and Transit was hindered because of it. There was originally meant to be many more features of Transit, and annoying features such as the fog, lava and denizens were only added to make sure the game was able to run on older consoles. Adding these features would slow down the player and make the game easier to run. It is still baffling to this day how bad Transit really is, especially considering how great the previous two games were. In a way, Transit was an important turning point for zombies fans. I know players who stopped playing after this, simply because the games got too complicated. Zombies at its core was an addictive, simple arcade style game. Treyarch overcomplicating things made the series lose some of its charm, which is a real shame. The other maps that were out on release were small sections of Transit condensed into smaller areas. The three were Bus Depot, Farm and Town. Although these were traditional to the zombie style, some glaring issues were still there, such as the fire, and the characters in these maps didn't even speak. These felt like worse World at War maps because they were so simple. They felt like a step down from the Black Ops 1 maps, which were the right level of fun and complicated. Newtown Zombies was also released. It's based off the Black Ops 1 multiplayer map, and originally only for people who bought the more expensive versions of the game. The map was okay, but again lacked replayability, and didn't add much to zombies. It was almost like Treyarch lost the ability to balance their maps. They were either extremely simple, or so convoluted to the point that a lot of casual players stopped playing zombies. The next map released was Die Rise, on the 28th of February 2013.
Oh God! Oh God! Oh!
This map is widely considered to be just as bad, if not worse than Transit. The map still used the four main characters that people didn't like. Apart from a few areas, the map looks awful. It has a horrible layout, with many rooms that add nothing to the design and make it bigger for no reason. Verticality was an interesting idea that was horribly executed. The map is set in some skyscrapers in China. This meant mainly going up and down the map, which was different for the Zombies series. Elevators would help you travel through the map, but these came at random and could kill you if you weren't careful. This had similar issues to the Transit bus. You could find a key to call an elevator, but you could only use it once for some stupid reason. Elevators also contained the perk machines and also Pack-a-Punch. These would randomly travel up and down the map, and you could lose your upgraded weapon if you got there too late. This resulted in players waiting ages for the elevators, which was boring and just came down to luck. The perk PhD Flopper was removed at the start of Black Ops 2, but the machine is visible but not obtainable on the map. This was very annoying, as a perk which removed fall damage would be perfect for a map like this, where you can die easily from fall damage. The Wonder Weapon is actually great. After building the parts which were close to each other, you would obtain the Sliquifier. This gun would fire a purple liquid substance that would stay on the floor and slip up zombies and eventually kill them. The issue is, you can slip yourself with this weapon. This makes the Sliquifier increasingly risky to use, as you can easily fall off the map and die with it. Overall, Die Rise is another horrible zombies map, and was arguably the worst in the series to this point. The Call of Duty Zombies game mode needed a change, and needed it fast. Mob of the Dead was released on the 16th of April 2013 and was set in Alcatraz Island. The map was under different management by Jason Blundell, when the previous maps were mainly by Jimmy Zielinski. The map has 4 new celebrity voice characters which aren't annoying and feel like a breath of fresh air. Mob of the Dead's layout is also extremely good, having no wasted space and having areas to camp and train in. The transportation system is known as the gondola, which can take you from the very top to the bottom of the map for 750 points. This was a massive step up from the transportation in Transit and Die Rise. Quick Revive was removed on this map and replaced with Afterlife. You receive an Afterlife after every round, and you can choose to go into this mode. In Afterlife, you can complete simple puzzles to unlock features in this map such as doors, perks and Pack-a-Punch. Alternatively, if you die and have an Afterlife, you can revive yourself. To unlock Pack-a-Punch, you obtain plane parts around the map and add them to the roof. You then travel to the Golden Gate Bridge and Pack-a-Punch, before returning to Alcatraz at your convenience. To get back to Pack-a-Punch, you would only need to refuel the plane. The wonder weapon is the Blundergat, which is an extremely powerful shotgun obtained by the mystery box. You can also obtain it by completing a side quest, allowing 2 players to have the weapon in one map. A buildable, known as the Acid Gat kit, allowed you to upgrade your Blundergat to the Acid Gat, which acted as a monkey bomb that would shoot acid when exploding. The perk Electric Cherry was introduced onto this map. It was the first completely new perk in Black Ops 2 that was actually good. When reloading, an electric shockwave would surround the player and stun zombies around you. The Warden is a powerful boss zombie that spawns in every few rounds. The Warden can lock features such as the mystery box, which forces you to spend points to use it again. Mob of the Dead was a fantastic map that saved zombies and is still considered to be one of the best maps of all time. It wasn't too complicated, had fun but challenging gameplay, and brought back hope to the community. Mob of the Dead would have been the perfect map to start off Black Ops 2. The next map was Buried, and was released on the 6th of August 2012. Buried is set in an old western town underground. It was the last map by Jimmy Zielinski, as Jason Blundell took over fully after the success of Mob of the Dead. Buried has the same crew and similar features of Transit and Die Rise, which again are 2 of the worst maps in Zombies history. But somehow, this map works incredibly well. The map is filled with tasks to complete, none of which are too complicated, and are actually fun to do. The map features a non-playable character known as Arthur, which will open doors that can't be opened by points. To do this, you give Arthur a boost that spawns in every round. Arthur will then run into the door and break it. Candy can also be found and used once a round. This will allow Leroy to do things such as removing teddy bears in the box and making buildables for you. Little features like this change up the gameplay in a positive way. The war weapons on this map are able to be wherever you want. You can pick up the chalk outlines and place them on question marks scattered around the walls on the map. You get 1,000 points for doing this. To get Pack-a-Punch, you go through the witch's house. If they touch you, they take 2,000 points from your score. After you go through it, you get a free perk. This makes it easy to get all 7 perks on the map. Once you make it through the maze, you can Pack-a-Punch your weapons. The new perk Vulture lets the player see the locations of the perk machines, the mystery box, weapons, and Pack-a-Punch. Zombies also drop points and ammo for the player when killed. Also, some zombies release green gas when killed. If you enter the gas, you will be ignored by zombies. Vulture Aid is a very unique overpowered perk that has only ever been on this map. PhD Flopper is also back as a perma perk. If you take 4 damage multiple times, you can get PhD Flopper. You lose it if you take damage, but you can get it back anytime. The Paralyzer is the wonder weapon on this map and is obtainable by the mystery box, and slows down zombies until they eventually all die. It has infinite ammo, but needs to be recharged by waiting. You can get onto higher ledges with the weapon by jumping and shooting below you. The Ray Gun Mark II was added to this map, and was retroactively added to all other Black Ops 2 maps. It is a very powerful burst ray gun with no splash damage. Overall, Buried is a great zombies experience that is incredibly different. The map may be too easy, but all the features that help the player make Buried what it is. It is one of the most enjoyable maps to set up on, as there are so many tasks to do. You can do these in any order and you get rewarded greatly. There are plenty of spots to train and camp on, and the map is a good size, having no dead space like there is on Transit and Die Rise. Buried is a massive step up from those two maps, but it was too late. Jimmy Zielinski never made another zombie map after this, and Jason Blundell, who created Mob of the Dead, took over. It's a real shame, because Jimmy Zielinski was extremely talented and made so many great iconic maps, so at least he finished on a high note. Origins was released on the 27th of August 2013. It was set in World War I in France. It features the 4 original characters that were in World at War and Black Ops 1, and was the most complicated zombies map to date. To this day, it is widely considered to be the best map of all time. The map has 6 generators around the map, which if all turned on unlock power for the whole map, and also Pack-a-Punch. For the first time, a main wonder weapon was available to all players. The wonder weapon is called the Staff, and there is the fire, ice, wind and electric versions of it. Each player gets one, and they can be upgraded. To make and upgrade the staffs, you have to find parts for them and do puzzles throughout the map. They aren't easy to get, but are very powerful and worth the challenge. The map has shovels that you can pick up, and you can dig certain areas to get rewards such as weapons, a staff part, and drops. The new boss zombie is called the Panzer Soldat. This spawns in every few rounds. It can set you on fire, and grab the player with its claw and pull you in. The Panzer is an extremely challenging boss zombie on the map, and is an incentive to get the staffs quicker. Mud is placed all over the map, which slows you right down. Because of this, Stamina Up is a must-use perk on this map. PhD Flopper returns on this map, but the starting pistol upgraded doesn't deal explosive damage. This makes PhD Flopper unneeded on Origins, yet it could have been great on another Black Ops 2 map. The Wonder Fizz machine is like the mystery box, and costs 1,500 for a random perk. This is another great addition, as you can get perks for cheaper if you are lucky. You can get G-strikes on this map by doing a challenge, which are basically overpowered monkey bombs. Another side quest gives you the 1-inch punch, which makes your melee extremely powerful. Like all the other maps since Ascension, there is an Easter egg. Building the staffs are part of the Easter egg, so it feels like you are playing the game naturally anyway. Easter eggs aren't really my thing, but I can respect how good the Origins one really is. Overall, Origins is one of the best maps of all time. It has great characters, great wonder weapons, lots of challenge, and has a great amount of replayability. Origins is extremely complicated, and it takes a lot of time just to set up. This map steered zombies into a very different direction, and I'm not sure if it was the right one. Black Ops 2 is a very mixed bag. It has some of the worst maps in the entire series, but also has some of the best. The map selection is good, as each map gives you a very unique experience to the next. This was very different to Black Ops 1, where the maps had a similar feel to them. Black Ops 2 was an incredibly ambitious game which I can respect a lot, but because of that fact some of the maps really suffer. The next Call of Duty was released on the 5th of November 2013, and it was Call of Duty Ghosts. Call of Duty Ghosts received mainly negative reviews by the community. The third game was called Extinction. The gameplay was more like missions rather than round-based like zombies. Extinction was quickly deemed as a zombies rip-off, and didn't get much popularity. I think this is incredibly unfair, and in my opinion the game is the most underrated thing in all of Call of Duty. Extinction never came back after this game. The Call of Duty after Ghosts was Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and was released on the 4th of November 2014. It was made by Sledgehammer Games, which was the first Call of Duty made by them. This game also had a very negative reception. The third game mode was a futuristic take on zombies, which just felt like Treyarch Zombies but much worse. Advanced Warfare Zombies felt like a huge waste of time. Sledgehammer Games would have been better off if they just made their own unique game mode. At this point, the community was getting tired of the third game mode being zombie related. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was released on the 6th of November 2015. Up to this point, Treyarch had a great track record with their zombie game mode. It was their game mode after all, so after the massive success of Origins, the community was excited for the new game. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was the first zombie game to introduce microtransactions known as Gobblegum. You would earn Gobblegum very slowly normally, or you could spend real life money and get them quickly. The Gobblegum you would get is random, so it's a gamble if you get the one you want. Although Gobblegums are fun to use, they really ruin the progression of a zombie game, and remove the fun survival part of it. They were essentially cheats locked behind a paywall. The two maps on launch were Shadows of Evil and The Giant. The Giant was a remaster of demise, so the main map on this game was Shadows of Evil. Shadows of Evil is set in 1940s Morgue City and features a set of new characters. Shadows of Evil has a similar feeling to Mob of the Dead and is as complicated as Origins. Shadows of Evil has the Beast. This is a mode that you can enter that allows you to complete puzzles. This mode is similar to Afterlife on Mob of the Dead. The mystery box on Black Ops 3 contains the worst balancing yet. World at War and Black Ops 2 had good balancing, but Black Ops 1 had too many terrible guns. Black Ops 3 has the opposite. Almost every gun in the mystery box is at least decent, so there is no urgency or gamble when using it. Shadows of Evil's version of a dog round is against parasites and insanity elementals. It also has the Magua, a boss zombie with 3 heads and a very strong melee. The map has the best wonder weapon ever, the Apothecon Servant. The weapon is able to shoot black holes that kill zombies all around you. Black Ops 3 introduced specialist weapons. In this map, it's called the Apothecon Sword. Once completing several puzzles, you are able to unlock the sword that you can use for a limited time. To use it again, you have to wait and get kills normally. The specialist doesn't take up a gun slot, but is always in your inventory when unlocked. Widow's Wine was introduced in this map. Your grenades get replaced with Widow's Wine grenades. This is a very good perk that is included in every Black Ops 3 map. To unlock Pack-a-Punch, you need to complete certain puzzles when you are the Beast. This is similar to using Afterlife to unlock Pack-a-Punch in Mob of the Dead. Obtaining Pack-a-Punch is very complicated for what it's worth, and can make playing the map feel like a chore. Double Pack-a-Punches in this game, which costs 2,500 points. This gives an alternate ammo type to your weapon that activates occasionally. This made almost any gun viable in the game. Overall, Shadows of Evil is an extremely strong start to Black Ops 3. It may be too complicated, but Shadows of Evil can be a great time once you know how to play it. However, this map really wasn't suited for the casual player, and pushed zombies further into the wrong direction. The Black Ops 3 zombie cycle continued similar to Black Ops 1, as the maps were very good and similar in quality. The rest of the Black Ops 3 maps had new wonder weapons and specialists, and all DLC had the 4 main characters. This was the peak of zombies, and is many people's favourite zombie game. On the 16th of May 2017, Zombies Chronicles was released, which was a remaster of 8 maps from World at War to Black Ops 2. It gave new life into the game, but I think the originals are better. Some Gobblegums allow you to Pack-a-Punch weapons from the wall in the box straight away, so if you paid for Gobblegums, you could have Pack-a-Punch on maps that didn't have it normally. These are still very good remasters, and are a great addition to the game. Although I love Black Ops 3, I miss the pure survival aspect of the older maps, as that was a core part of the game mode. Gobblegums and double Pack-a-Punch were good ideas on paper, but they really hurt this game and made it too easy. Saying that, zombies would have gotten really stale if they never innovated. The Call of Duty Zombies series up to Black Ops 3 are some of my favourite games ever, that I will probably never get tired of. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is the last zombies game I have played in full, so how did Treyarch's next release ruin zombies for good? Call of Duty Black Ops 4 was released on the 12th of October 2018. The game was the first and only Call of Duty with no campaign, and the game lacks identity because of it. The game has a forgotten Battle Royale game mode known as Blackout, and a watered down version of Black Ops 3's multiplayer that has no advanced movement, which removed a lot of the fun. The zombies had a whopping 4 new maps on release: 9, Voyage of Despair, Blood of the Dead, and Classified. 9 and Voyage of Despair were completely original, but Blood of the Dead and Classified were reimagined versions of Mob of the Dead and 5. This was the first issue with Black Ops 4 Zombies. There were just too many maps on release that resulted in the community not being able to focus and talk about one thing. The next issue with Black Ops 4 is the engine. The game completely removed Juggernaut and made you 4 hits for the whole game. The game also made it so you could spawn in with other guns instead of the pistol. Specialists would also spawn in straight away and they were quick to recharge. This was a stark contrast to Black Ops 3, which made specialists overpowered but hard to get. These changes, which may seem okay by themselves, really added up and damaged the progression of the game completely. You were no longer fighting for survival. Getting Juggernaut in a classic match of zombies made you feel much more powerful, but in this game you get extra health from the get-go. You also get customised guns and an overpowered specialist at the start. It's honestly ridiculous. The iconic perk machines were removed in this game. They were replaced by blank perk machines that were able to hold any perk you chose. There are a whopping 18 perks in this game, with most of them being new. Treyarch's reason for this was to make no perk better than the other, so that the player would choose different ones each time. Unfortunately, there were still a few perks that were much better than the rest, so people still ended up getting the same perks every time. Gobblegums also returned as elixirs, which have the same issues as Black Ops 3. The game looks visually worse than Black Ops 3, which in some ways symbolised the severe dip in quality. Blood of the Dead and Voyage of Despair are both terrible maps with awful map design, resulting in them not being fun to play at all. These two maps are similar quality to Transit and Die Rise. Although 9 is a genuinely good map, it was too late. I didn't care anymore. Most people didn't care anymore. Pack-a-Punch was also ruined in this game. Double tap was one of the perks removed, so you would have to Pack-a-Punch 3 times to get the same effect. This removed the excitement of pack-a-punching once and completely changing your gun. The game was also riddled with bugs on release. Zombies had changed way too much. It didn't even feel part of the same game series anymore. Treyarch somehow managed to remove what made the original map so fun, and ruin a whole game mode in one entry. I watched the Black Ops 4's game cycle from a distance, and most maps were poorly received, and 2 of them were just remakes of older maps. This was a massive downgrade from Black Ops 3, which had completely new well-made maps excluding the last DLC. The latest Treyarch game called Cold War has zombies, but for me and many others, it's too late. And from what I've played, it's not anything special or worth my time. It's another game that is too different and quite bland, which resulted in me not playing more of it. Call of Duty Vanguard is the latest Call of Duty with zombies, and it's terrible. One of the main DLCs is just the World at War map Shino Numa with a few extra features. You know that a game mode should die already when it gets this bad.
It shows that there's literally nothing. They just show the rooms on the map. They added 1 extra room. I don't understand. Look, new quest, okay? Wonder Weapon quest. Remember when these were naturally just in the game? And also, even when you go back into older games like BO1 and stuff, like, they added more than just 1 Wonder Weapon. They didn't advertise it. It's like these people that are making this game don't really understand why zombies blew up, why there was any traction towards it as well.
The Zombies game mode was once one of the best parts of Call of Duty, but it eventually came just as stale as the series behind it. I would like to thank Treyarch for making Zombies so great, but it's just a shame that the game mode is no longer what it used to be.